What's good, guys? In this video we're going to talk about social media marketing agency niches. Should you have a niche? Should you not have a niche? Who's a niche right for? Who is a niche not right for? What's good, guys? Welcome back to my channel. My name is Ebs. I run a digital marketing agency here in London. I'm 24 years old and I've been doing this for over 2.5 years now, and I'm really just sharing my personal experience and what I've learned along my journey with you guys. So without further ado, in this video we're going to be talking about niches. Now, it's definitely a lot of information out there about niches. What I'm really going to be talking about is who are they right for, who are they not right for, because oftentimes when somebody's giving blanket advice saying yes or no, typically that's going to be wrong, because different things work for everybody depending on their situation. That's why I'm always a fan of having, two-way dialogue, so you can really figure out the particular circumstances for somebody. So I'll use myself as the example just to start to paint a little picture. So back when I started out, I was actually in university. I was in my final year. Great time to start an agency, right? But I was in my final year, and I didn't really know anything. I'd just taken a course and I was kind of going along with it. That didn't really teach anything about niches. So niches weren't really even a known thing back then. But nevertheless, I just kind of got into it just based on people I knew, networking, going out there, trying all these different spray and pray kind of approaches. And I got a couple of clients. Now, that would be what's called a general agency. And to be honest, I would recommend most people start in a similar way to that. Now, not necessarily so haphazardly like I did, definitely have a structure. But the reason for that is because how could you possibly decide a niche if you haven't actually tried out a few things, right? Because you don't know which niche you're gonna work best in and which niche you're gonna be able to get results for, right? So what I recommend is that you actually start out testing out with a few different clients and then start to narrow in on a niche. So for example, myself, I work a lot in real estate. Now, again, you could say, look, if you were interested in real estate, that's where you should have gone first. But I wasn't interested in real estate, or over here in the UK we call it property. I wasn't really interested in property before, so I never would have known to go for that. But by trial and error, I figured out that that was something I was both interested in and I could get damn good results for, right? So that was kind of how I found my niche. A massive common misconception that I'm going to talk about right now with niches is that people think that when you're in a niche, that means you can't have any other clients. This is completely wrong. There was a really good study. I'll see if I can link it below, but I read it a long time ago. But it's basically a marketing agency who had been on both sides of the transaction. So they'd been both the buyer of the services and producing the services. And what they found is that companies did prefer if you had a speciality in their certain field. What they considered a speciality, or in this case we're talking about niches, is if 25% of your clients are in that particular field. So this is a huge common mistake I see people make, particularly when people are starting out, is to say, I'm only going to work with gyms and just completely focus on gyms, not knowing whether they are interested in the gym. They might have no interest in it at all, and not knowing whether they can get results for gyms. Those two things are the most important thing. And they have 100% of their clients, which is probably one or two clients in that very narrow field. What the research actually shows, and this is true from my own experience, is that clients like you to have a speciality in their chosen field, so say real estate just for this example, but they don't want you to have all of their eggs in one basket. And there's a few reasons for that. Logically, right, if you put yourself in the client's shoes, okay, imagine that I come up to you and say you're a gym, and I say, hi, my name's Ibrahim, I run an agency that specializes in only gyms who do CrossFit like yourself, and to generate leads. Now, that's great because it's very targeted. But what is that person going to be thinking in their head? Okay, this guy specializes in exactly what I do, but what they're going to be doing for me is what they were doing for 10 other people, which are all my competitors, right? So they don't want to think that you're offering some cookie cutter out of the box approach that you've just duplicated and you're doing with all their competitors, because then they're not going to want your service because you're directly competing, right? What in actual fact, and this is what the research found, and again based off my own experience, is that clients like it when you have a portion of your specialty in that field, and maybe you do a couple other fields as well, because then you can draw on all of that other experience. So say I work in real estate, but I also work with chiropractors, I also work with dentists, I also work with restaurants. I can take ideas from all of those other campaigns that I've run for those types of clients and repurpose them and apply them to create new ideas for new campaigns for this client. So I hope that makes sense in terms of niching. So I personally don't recommend picking a niche right out of the bat, because you can't possibly know what you're going to be interested in. Then based off that, I wouldn't even necessarily have only one narrow area that you focus on, because your clients don't actually like it that much. And I get you can systemize your approach, that's absolutely fine, but realistically, how much extra effort is it to create a few different systems for a few different clients? And what that does is it massively opens up your pool with your outreach, but you can still be targeted within that, right? You can still have just variations of that targeting, but it enables you to reach so much more people while still being considered, an expert in that particular field. Because that's really the number one benefit of having a niche. It's so you can be considered an authority in that field. Now, I'm still considered an authority in my field, even though I have clients that do other things, right? They love hearing about my ideas that I can take from real estate and give to them. And on a side note, look, having a niche doesn't necessarily mean focusing on one type of industry or business. There are lots of different ways to become an expert, because being in a niche basically means you are specified in one area. You can, be a niche agency based on the fact that you only provide content creation, or maybe you only run, paid traffic through Facebook and Instagram, or maybe you only do copywriting or only do SEO, right? That's kind of another level to niche down. So there really are levels to this kind of whole niching idea. So, at the top level, you could say, I only focus on, the property industry. You then might say, within that, I also only focus on providing, web design and websites for the property industry. That would be kind of like a sub niche within it, which means you're effectively targeting a smaller and smaller group of people. Now, look, in theory, yes, you're going to be able to get great results for them and really speak to that audience specifically. But the point of me bringing this up is that if you are going to be really sub-niching down, you've got to make sure that what you're offering is their main kind of pain point and the main thing that business needs. So, for example, if, property companies have terrible websites, then, you might focus on building websites and conversion rate optimization, for example. So this is really, really important. And I want you to just kind of consider that when you're kind of thinking about what clients you want to work with. Don't narrow yourself into a little box. Make sure you can, and look, especially if you haven't hit, your minimum goal yet. Say your goal that you want to hit in, say, the next 6 months is 10 grand a month. If you haven't hit 10 grand a month, you should damn well not be turning away clients or boxing yourself into a niche, because until you've hit that, you can't be considered an expert anyway. Let's just be real about this for a second. So look, just take those clients on, and yeah, maybe once you hit, say, 20 grand a month and you just really want to narrow down and become a little bit more focused, then fine, no problem at all, do that. But until then, I wouldn't even think about being super niche. Have your niches based on, your own testing of what you have figured out by having a few different types of clients. Who do you like? Who can you get results for? And then start, focusing on a couple niches, become an authority, and that's where you can grow from. So just wanted to make this video really short, just these common mistakes I see and the main misconception about having a niche and what it actually means. Hopefully you can take this and apply it to your own business. This is something that I don't just talk about it. This is what I actually do myself. So if you want to talk about this some more, always shoot me a DM on Instagram. I'm active on there every single day. It's popping right now. Links in the description. It's Eebs Turner. Really simple on Instagram. Drop a comment below if you have any questions. I'm thinking about doing a video on kind of niches to pick, because I actually have a way that I've picked my niches. And I actually have I guess you could call it a formula to figure out who is a good client to serve, because I don't work with everybody, right? I only work with people I know I can get results for. So if you want that, drop a comment below. I'd be more than happy to make that video if there's a demand for it. Have a good one, and I'll speak soon.